We're jumping into the holiday season, December games. These are the 5 games, the top 5 games I think that you'll probably want to get in December, but it's only 5 games. There are others there. I'll have a couple mysterious mentions at the very end. I'd like to know what games you guys are going to get. If I missed one, what was the one that you think I missed? Why do you like it? Put it in the comments. The first 1,000 people who put comments in this video will be the first 1,000 people who put comments in the video and will get absolutely nothing other than my deep abiding love. Let's jump into this. The first one, I think it has to be Final Fantasy Endwalker. This is the expansion of expansions for Final Fantasy, delayed into December. If not the most looked forward to expansion for Final Fantasy XIV, it is one of the top ones, which itself has seen a massive resurgence in popularity as an MMO, not only due to World of Warcraft and its issues, but also just because there are a fantastic number of skills and classes and different things that you can do, as well as a massive world in Final Fantasy XIV. Endwalker is going to let you play and go face-to-face with a new enemy empire, setting their sights and their designs on you as the main character. It's going to explore this new world, these new locations. It's got new raids, a level cap raised to 90, and adds 2 highly anticipated classes. Those are the Sage and the Reaper. A lot of people have even stated that, hey, they're sort of just waiting until those 2 classes come so they can jump into those versus actually playing the game right now with what they have. But there is a lot going on here with Endwalker, a huge amount of content for this expansion. People have been waiting for it forever. It's easily number 1. And the next up, the Gunk. Yes, I said it, Thunderful Games. The Gunk did not start out looking the best, I admit it. We saw the trailers and a lot of people were like, the pedigree is really anything but questionable. This is the maker of SteamWorld. Now, I know that SteamWorld and those developers know how to make an awesome game. This will be their first leap into a 3D game world. But as we've seen further content, I actually think it looks pretty cool. You're a scavenger, Ranny, who has landed on this alien planet with Beck, your partner, where the world has been corrupted by this black parasitic mold fungus called the Gunk. Now, Randy tries to save the world, removing the Gunk with the different weapons as being a scavenger would have, and trying to save the world with their tools. Now, not much has been shown other than a couple trailers and a little bit of gameplay sections here or there, but the Gunk until recently hasn't really had a lot going for it. It didn't preview very well when people saw it at the different award shows or different Xbox shows. The game's graphical presentation seems to have stepped up in the last bit of footage I've seen. After the likes of Kena, I actually feel that these odd 3D games have a better chance than ever, and people are looking at them and saying, you know what, I'll give that a chance. The difference here might be how the characters are roped into saving the world, the narrative there, the mix of that scavenging and the items and the tools that you have, and how to use it against the Gunk, and if it explores and makes you try to understand the way to use your tools against the world itself. So far, the game has a horrible name, and that's about all it had originally going for it. But like I said, those later trailers have actually started to make me pay attention to this and think that it might be something special, and I'm actually quite excited to get my hands on it. Number 3, Century Age of Ashes. This one I cannot wait for. Free to play, yes, but Century of Ashes looks awesome. It's flying and jousting, casting spells, death matches, all in awesome looking locations on the back of dragons. These are the kind of games that when you're a kid, you're like, man, I wish I could fly on the back of a dragon. And people are like, let's do it. Free to play games, yeah, I get it. There's going to be some microtransactions, but Age of Ashes already looks incredible. It's 6x6x6 dragon aerial battles. You got power-ups, different classes of dragons and different abilities. The game was delayed so that it didn't release when Battlefield 2042 did, and it finally hits the first week of December. I can personally say, I don't know if that was a good decision or not, because Battlefield 2042 hit like a turd in a swimming pool. With custom unlocks for dragon skins and their designs, the game's core component is really this balance between the movement of the dragons and their skills and understanding the location, which have a lot of interactivity in them. It's a balance between all of those things. For example, some different dragon abilities are to leave a poison trail behind you, behind your flight, sickening other people and their dragons trying to chase you. That's right, following a dragon through a tight tunnel as it's farting is a skill in a game, and it actually looks like it's quite useful. Or just turning invisible for a small amount of time, making it, well, pretty hard for enemies to track them if they can't see them. It seems to be nailing it. I love the look of the title. I love the animations of the dragons, the dragon flight, the attack animations, and the idea of using just a few skills that you have to really elevate yourself above everybody else in the game field. Hey, it's like Panzer Dragon Orta, but multiplayer. And to me, that is something I'm highly excited for. That's December 2nd, and again, free to play, so you might as well check it out. And checking out this next one, twin stick shooter action, it's Anvil by Action Square. Now, Anvil's an agency that searches for vaults. These contain alien civilizations, artifacts. Each character has their own skills and abilities that you can add and also find in your search for these interstellar randomized loot that you get. It is one of those kind of titles where you go to a spot and sort of locks you off. You have your enemy battle, and then once you defeat that location, you go to the next one. It's also roguelike, so a twin stick arena location roguelike game. This results, of course, in you dying and coming back with stronger and stronger characters upon your death, learning more and gathering more. The other breakers, that's the suits that you have, play in this multiplayer co-op top-down shooter with you, and you can have your friends join up. It's high-octane action. It looks over the top when it comes to its explosions and its co-op. There's 9 breaker suits that can be chosen from as well. What interested me here right from the start is they have an up-close fighting character, a huge axe with special skills, which you don't always see in top-down shooters. You also have your ranged character and then a character supposedly with a pistol and skills, though they're all going to have skills of some kind. You can also end up facing random bosses that are spawned into the world around you. Not much is known about the story, but from the looks of it, the game hinges more on that meaty combat, the cycle of die, try, buy, retry, that good roguelike games actually excel at. What I've seen of this title looks really interesting to me, though there's been some dodgy FPS here and there. This is something that I will definitely jump into, even though titles that start with an A haven't been doing so well in the last couple of years. And the next up, Solar Ash from Heart Machine. You're Rhea, a void-running roller skating savior jumping into a black hole to save your planet. If that's not a storyline you don't want to at least learn a little bit more of and a great sentence, I don't know what it is. It's an apt description of the game, too. It's focused on speed and movement and worldview. The flow of that movement, that heavy, consistent forward pace and slick feeling of just always continually moving forward have been perfectly applied from what we've seen in gameplay footage and trailers. As a Void Runner who is actually inside of this quantum moment, as the main character, you take down enemies inside this location to save your own planet, but the game's use of not only that incredible saturation color, but the huge enemies is awesome. 3D action slasher. It mixes up the magic of Houdini, the actual tech program that makes the game, with world creation tools and the team's ability to tell a story without being overt. It uses inverse kinetic systems also so that the creatures move across the maps without pre-rendered animations, giving everything this offset alien feel and look. And then you have the massive bosses I was talking about. These boss battles are definitely in the vein of Shadow of the Colossus, but turned up to gigantic size, some as big as the levels in other games. It looks phenomenal when it comes down to that. I like the games that always feel like you're in that flow state. I hate the term. I think it's absolutely stupid, but whatever, I'm going to use it right now. I love that feeling. I love that feeling of consistently moving forward. Nothing can stop you. And the idea that you're going to be doing that and then you leap on the giant back of some creepy centipede encapsulated in its own backbone armor, that's just awesome to me. Graphically, motion-wise, I love the idea of the inverse kinetics giving it an alien feel. Can't wait for this one. And of course, yeah, Halo Infinite. It's time. The Master Chief returns, sheds all that extraneous weight of the past game's old narrative turns, takes the MC and the player into a scenario that are intimately experienced with as gamers of the Halo titles. First-person shooting, alien floating mechanics, and AI as a mixture of the Covenant, the Banished, and possibly another as they come together and try to take out the Master Chief as he tries to clear off the surface of Halo Zeta in a mission to discover the cause of a mysterious pulse from within the ring. 343 has split off the multiplayer into its own already released free-to-play release, where the main campaign is going to be out December 8th. Unfortunately, Co-op and The Forge are pushed out past March of 2022. We don't even know if it's going to be released right then. That's really sad. The free-to-play issues that have popped up have caused them to state the Co-op and The Forge to actually be delayed, which is sort of a crapper, but, you know, that's the way it is. And the last one, and this could easily be in the main list, Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. This is Steel Wolf Studios. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach has you playing as Gregory and you're stuck inside Freddy's Mega Pizzaplex. And of course, things go noticeably bad later at night. What is interesting here is where the prior games were pretty linear, this newer game is a mixture of newer styles. It's got gameplay that's got full exploration, smaller missions taking place within a mall versus the pizzeria of the prior titles, as well as progressively more difficult enemies as the night and your progression continues. You team up with this glam rock Freddy character and you can leap inside of him to sneak past enemies, but he has a limited battery life, meaning you have to work through that exploration as well as some stealth, smartly using his abilities and that sneak as well as your own. Security Breach is actually the 8th game from these guys. It has a ton of changes to the gameplay, not only including that exploration, but also boss characters and a more in-depth story. There's something about Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach that excites me. The idea of them going full on for this game. We'll have to see what it is. This is the 8th title. I think there's nothing wrong with them branching out and trying to really nail it and do something completely different. And that is the way this game seems to be going. I'm actually super excited for this. I don't think I've ever been excited for a Five Nights at Freddy's game. Those are the titles in December. Couple honorable mentions. There are a ton of titles in the last couple months that we've got to jump into and possibly missed. So maybe that's your plan for December, to not really jump into any of the new ones. But if you do want to, there's a couple, maybe one or two you haven't heard of, or one or two you have, and you just sort of wanted to make sure that somebody else felt the way you did, and there we are. Somebody does. As always, I love you guys. Thanks. Enjoy. Peace out. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Facebook. Join the Patreon. It helps fight the good fight. Peace out.